Blog Talk Radio.
Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. This is the 90 Degree Show, brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service to you today. Today is, today is August 5th. Welcome, August 5th, 2012. 3 o'clock here on the West Coast, 6 o'clock there on the East Coast. Today is a happy show and a special show. Today we bring in our co-hosts for the Marching Podcast, Marice Bailey and Chris Jones. And we may have a special guest from my dad. He's out here visiting his granddaughter, but we're not sure. But it'll be up to you, Dad. Thanks for listening. But we'll push forward. Today we say goodbye to the Capital City Classic. The annual classic between Jackson State and Alcorn State has been dissolved. Alcorn has pulled out of the Classic to become the home team and bring the game to Lorman, Mississippi. And today we talk about this. Is this the best thing for both schools involved? We really want to hear from you today at 718-664-6025. That's 718-664-6025. You can email the show at marchingpodcast@gmail.com or tweet us at the Marching Podcast. That's at Marching Podcast. No the on the tweet. So how you doing today, Maurice?
I'm doing great, man. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing today, Chris Jones?
Oh, man, I'm lovely.
Outstanding. I'm really glad that both of you guys are on the show today, two mentors of mine. We really appreciate it, and we know we're going to make the show instantly better with you two. And it's the extensive knowledge that you both have, extensive knowledge and experience. Today on the show today with the Capital City Classic, it hits home because all of us have marched and attended the game as band members and as fans. The Capital City Classic.
You said the Capital City Classic.
Yeah, the Capital City Classic.
It's not the Capital City Classic anymore. You know that.
It's not the Capital City Classic.
City, so how can it be the Capital City Classic?
That's true. That is very true. It is now a home game there in Lorman. Who knows what the game will be called in the future? But it's a huge game, of course, because it's the end of it. Signifies the end of our season, end of Alcorn season.
Right.
How do you guys feel about it? I guess I'll just go ahead and start off the show. How do you guys feel about it? Maurice, I'll start with you.
Basically, to give you just a little bit of history on it, the Capital City Classic came about after 1993. I believe 1993 was the last year that they had what used to be the Soul Bowl, because that's what it was. It was the Soul Bowl Classic. Once they started in 94 doing the Capital City Classic, if some people can remember, that was Steve McNair's last year playing football at Alcorn. The Capital City Classic started off in that year, and it's been going on ever since. Literally, I believe that's about 18 years. To get to the meat of the situation, I believe what it is Alcorn. I think the record now as far as wins for the football team is about 13-6, Jackson State's way. But the most important thing is that over the years, some of the crowd participating has gone down, because I think that that first Capital City Classic game was an upwards of about 65,000 people because of Steve McNair being there this last year. But the real thing is that Alcorn University President, Mr. Christopher Brown, he just took over last year, and I think that what's going on is, as far as what I've been reading in the press and the news here in Mississippi, is basically that he wants to put it back on home turf. Saying that it feels like it's a Jackson game every year because they're coming to Jackson. Which I can feel them having a little small point there, but the last time I checked, the Spinks-Marino Casem Stadium there on the Alcorn campus, doesn't hold, but maybe a little more than 25,000. I don't know the exact number. But their argument is that for the past few years, they've only been getting about 22,000 people to come to the game as far as tickets being sold. So with President Brown having a new year as being president from last year, plus he came on, he hired a new AD. He probably felt as though from talking to the AD, he probably felt like they needed to boost morale for their particular team and teammates. They want those guys to feel like they're actually at home at Alcorn at some point when they're playing the Jack State Alcorn game. So that's the real gist of it.
Right. Well, how you feel, Chris Jones?
Well, honestly, it's going to be something to see, but at the same time, it's going to be a problem situation because, one, there's only one way into the Alcorn Stadium. There's only a two-way street. You're going to have to park on the sidewalk. I mean, on the highway to basically get to the game. As far as ticket sales, yeah, it's going to be a big sale on tickets, but the masses are going to be there, but there's not going to be enough seats. So where are we going to sit at? You got two big bands here. You got this small, minute stadium. Everybody's going to sit on the grass because they have these two areas that's nothing but grass. I don't like it. I really don't like it because, number one, it's called the Capital City Classic. It's called the Capital City Classic because it's held at the Capitol. And that's the thing that we got to talk about. And you see all these guys coming here, and we're going to the Capital City Classic. Where we're going to stay at? We're going to have to stay in Vicksburg, Mississippi to go to the game in Laurel, Mississippi. That's Babbage. That's not going to work. You know it's not going to work, Joe Beard. You know it's not going to work. It's not going to work. We got people that's going we got people that's going to run concessions. We got people that's going to be selling T-shirts and all these type of things. They're not going to have area that they're going to sell anything at. It's a mess. It's a mess. And Alcorn, I love HBCUs. I love the SWAC, but this school is not going to make the money that they think they're going to make. You don't have the facility to enhance the people. You don't have hotels, which the things that the city makes money off of. These are the things that Jackson makes money off of when they have it. They have the Capital City Classic in Jackson. They make money off hotel sales. They make money off the restaurants. They make money off the concession stands. They make money off T-shirt and all those kind of things. But how are you going to make that money if those people are not there? You don't have anybody. You don't have a place to stay. I mean, I'm going to the game, but I'm going to have to leave. I'm going to have to leave here at 5 o'clock in the morning to get a good seat. Because it's going to be so many people there. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be mayhem.
Well, I tell you, man, the first I kind of heard of this. I follow HBCU Digest on Twitter, and he came out with a report, I think like back in October, and the report was they were strongly considering not renewing the Classic. So I was surprised that it was actually up for debate. And then, we just hear the information recently. My initial thought was the geographic location, like just kind of downwards into Alcorn, down with the highway.
Right.
And I tell you, for Alcorn, I think it's going to be good because it gives them a chance to have more home games. I read an article, I think in the WLBT, I think that's the NBC affiliate.
Exactly.
Down there in Jackson, yeah.
Exactly.
The athletic director said that it's going to create a new level of interest for prospective students. He understands he went to Alcorn, and he understands the importance of having the facilities and having students come to your facility for the actual game.
Right.
And he brought up the Egg Bowl. He said that it's time for the game to come home, and the Ole Miss and Mississippi State used to play the Egg Bowl in Jackson, but now they've transferred that money to their individual campuses.
But
you're looking at two big schools, though, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're right. Their AD did talk about that. He's the first Caucasian AD they've ever had, which I don't think.
Right.
That has nothing to do with it being a bad career move. I think it probably was a good move. He's probably a great AD. I have no problem with that. But come on now, when you start trying to compare, even in 2012, it's sad that we have to say it, but we have to look at reality. You cannot compare the type of funds that are generated from these SEC schools to what happens in the SWAC.
Right.
You can't do it. And also, when those people transfer those games to their campuses, they have full out, I'm talking about plussed out $1 million stadiums, multi-million-dollar stadiums. Which holds a lot of people.
Have that kind
and they
of
have the parking, and I'm sure Mr. Jones would agree with me on this, they have the parking to accommodate the fans. But what the real truth is, I'm going to set up a guy, the real truth is it's about money. The President Brown said in many articles, and I read about 3 or 4 of them, including WLBT, Jack the Free Press, that's down here in the state of Mississippi, he was saying that he has to look out for his students. He's trying to make a move because it's his first time being president, so he's trying to make a move as far as his faculty and students are concerned. But get this, the person in one of the articles, Wanda Wilson, who's the president and CEO of the Visitors and Convention Bureau, they offered Alcorn $160,000 in a proposal, saying that we're going to give y'all this much money to take care of some of the stuff the students will have to deal with, such as, room and board for the students. They're paying for the pep rally. They're paying for the golf tournament, all those different things. She said that when she gave that out, she thought that they knew that was supposed to be a proposal lining up for a negotiation. Now, when the people get proposals, that means they're putting it out there so you can negotiate. So I felt like if he wanted to negotiate, President Brown wanted to negotiate, he should have upped it. He should have said, well, 160 is not enough, but we'll take this.
Right.
And then the argument back here in Jackson is, and I'm about to finish, is that people, here in Jackson think that Jackson did not fight enough. Jackson stands to make almost they made $3 million last year, 2.54 between there. But the whole problem is that I don't think they did fight enough. They should have did what they could to negotiate with Alcorn's faculty staff and with President Brown in order to get the situation handled so that the city could keep the money here.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw some more information on the net from HBCU Digest, and they were saying, I think what you were talking about, the committee was the Jackson Convention and Visitors Bureau. Yes. They offered the $160,000 to Alcorn. And, of course, that's what it's about. Chris Jones, what do you think, and let me ask you this, Chris Jones, you brought up the initial that, they're not really going to make as much money as they're thinking. How much money do you think that, they probably think that they're going to stand to make? Do you think they're going to make plus, $160,000?
They think they're going to make plus the amount that they're thinking. But at the same time, you gotta look logical. You gotta think logical. This place is too small to have a game of this volume. It is too small. And then once again, like in Jackson, you have hotels, you have restaurants. In Lorman, Mississippi, what do you have? Nothing. Everybody has to go to Vicksburg to stay, 1. Number 2, eating. 3, everybody wants to you want to be comfortable when you go to a game. You know how we do when we go to a game. You tailgate, you buy a T-shirt or 2, you go out there, you listen to the band, you get excited about this thing, but it has no room to grow. It has no room to grow. It's like you wearing a size 10 shoe and you wear a size 13. Come on, man. Work with me now. Work with me, y'all. Let's go.
This is the 90 Degree Show brought to you by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. Thanks for listening. I have my dad in here, and he wants to say a couple of words. I'm going to give him the microphone and see what he says about his viewpoint.
Hello, Chris.
What's up, man? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Listen, I'm not going to say too much here because you guys are doing a great job already. But I do want to add the fact that what the plans are, I hear, since I'm now living in Jackson, I get a lot of words from a lot of the Alcornite fan Jacksonians that one of the I guess additional thing that the Alcornites plan to do is to raise the cost of tickets up to $45, $50. That's to make up additional revenue that's lost by coming to Jackson. One additional thing is that including in the $160,000 that's offered by the Jackson Convention and Visitors Bureau is the fact that They're also planning to, they're offering rather, or the proposal is to pay for the band's transportation, housing, not only the band but the football program, all the other attached programs attached to football, cheerleading, and others. So all of the expenses will be paid, in addition to the $160,000. So that's an attractive flag to put out there for them to accept. However, that they're refusing. Now, I'm not going to stay on here anymore because you guys are doing a good job. I understand that there are callers who may be interested in sharing their views also. So, Chris and Maurice, guys, keep up the good work. And,
Mr. Beard, let me ask you a question though before
yes,
you go.
sir.
Do you think it's logical to raise the price of the ticket? Is that logical?
Well, I guess in their sense, to create their mindset, it is because they are figuring that they're going to lose some revenue by bringing the game back down to Alcorn. But to make it up, that's where they're going to do it. They're going to raise the cost of the tickets.
Well, then once again, that's going to bring down the population and the amount of people to come to the game.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't think it's going to be a good move. In addition to Jackson, the game being played in Jackson, it's not just for Jackson. You have a lot of Alcornites who live in the area.
Right.
So that's going to move the game back down to Alcorn. Is going to provide somewhat of a hindrance for them to attend the game also. And the many and the thousand who come from out of town, obviously if they fly in, they fly into Jackson, which will require them to rent a car to get down to Alcorn. Raising the cost of those who come in from out of town is going to be a detriment to that, to bring the game back down to Alcorn. But take care of my
with the problem, Mr. Beard, that was very good comments. I agree with everything you said. I don't think it's a good idea either because if they do double, they're going to have to double the tickets, but they're going to lose out the money that they would have been able to make on the amount of people. Because even though Jackson State's sports information representative did send out a statement saying that it was going to be one of those situations where they would be welcoming, that they respect Alcorn's decision, and that they're looking forward to the Tigers going down there on their campus. Man, most fans are not going to come down there to their campus to try to find somewhere to maybe stay in Jackson and drive all the way down there. It's just going to be too much hassle. So it is going to be good for them to get presence of Alcorn, but they're going to miss out on all the visiting money that they could have because people come from out of state for this classic. It's been 18 years that people have set their lives, their vacation time around the Capital City Classic, and there's no way they're going to come here and drive all the way down to Lorman and then pay double for the tickets. They're going to lose out on a lot more money. Concession stand is not going to make up for it.
718-664-6025, 718-664-6025. Please give us your 2 cents about the former Capital City Classic. We really wanted to hear from some more Alcorn folks, but I guess I'll say something for them. I'm excited for the future of this for them because I think it's going to build some type of demand to maybe do something with that area and maybe create some type of economy in that area because of what they're talking about. The problem is, I guess, it's the way that they went about doing it. I would have preferred, and this is just me, but I would have preferred if maybe they would have created some hotels or if they would have invested some money or shown the Bureau or whatever, maybe, like Maurice said, maybe you can up the number that you're going to give us, but we're going to use this to build something to house the area, or maybe we can use that money for stadium improvements. I think they could have done something more to say this is about Alcorn, let us build up our community, let us build up our campus. And kind of the way they did it was they cut it off. Dr. Brown, he said, he used the example of the Port City Classic. I think Grambling is in that game, but there's a civic buy-in. There's like a tax support for the contest. So he wanted.
Is that Grambling against Alcorn?
I think I guess that would be the port city down there in that area. I just know that Shreveport hosts it, and they always have Grambling. As far as the classics go, there's always like three major types. There's always like where there's one school, there's where there's two different schools that show up every year, and then there's one where it's traditionally two schools, like what we're experiencing now with the Capital City Classic. The Port City, they're using their tax money every year to say, oh, we know this Classic is going to be here. Let's put so much money towards it. And he said that the Capital City Classic, they said that, I don't know really what it means, but he said the support is in kind, and it's absent of a corporate sponsor. I just wish that maybe there would have been some type of investment to house the game. But like you guys said, you all making valid points about what's going on, but how long is it going to take for Alcorn to be able to house this game? I guess that's what do you think?
President Brown was not trying to negotiate. Had he been trying to negotiate, then there would have been some type of negotiation, at least with the Visitors and Convention Bureau. He didn't try to negotiate any up of the money or anything that he wanted out of the deal that could have had it back in Jackson. They wanted it back at Alcorn at all costs. They're going to try this thing for a year, and they're going to see they're going to have empty seats, and they're going to see that they are not going to make the amount of money they thought they were going to make, because as soon as they up those tickets and sit them down in Jackson and people start buying them, some people are going to opt out and say, look, I'll just save this and go to another game for next year, or save
I'm going to the bayou.
If Jackson State does well this season, Jackson State fans are going to wait until, the SWAC championship. We're not going to spend money to go down there to Lorman and have that horrible ride and wait on that 2-lane highway. You're going to have a 2-hour wait at 10 o'clock in the morning, man. Nobody wants to go through that kind of stress to go to a game that big.
Yeah, what do you think, Chris Jones?
I went to a game. Now, I went to a game down there at Alcorn once before with Southern and Alcorn. Now, mind you, Southern came all the way down there. We had to park almost a mile and a half away from the stadium.
And Southern travels. They travel everywhere.
And it was so packed. I don't know if you've ever been to Alcorn. It's a two-sided stadium, of course, but it's small, and they have right behind the goalposts are just grassy areas, like a grassy knoll, like a grassy hill. Both of them are. It's the grassy knoll. But you see this, and all that whole grassy knoll was covered with Southernites, with Southern fans. It was so packed. It was so tight up in there. I was like, wow. I said, man, you can't even move. If I scratch my nose, I might hit somebody in the head. It was so tight. It was really tight. I mean, really, it was crazy. And then the fact of the matter that, me being a bandsman that I am, I want to listen to the fifth quarter. So I'm listening to the fifth quarter. By the time I get tired of listening to the fifth quarter, the fifth quarter ended, man, I got to walk another mile and a half to get, and I'm in great shape, but I got to walk another mile and a half to get back to the car. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, no, it's not safe. It's not safe. That's another thing. It's not safe. That is a main squeeze we need to look at right there. This is not a safe area. You are walking down the sidewalk on a highway, Joe Beard. I promise you, it is not safe. And I think we should just keep it simple, silly. Kept it at the Memorial Stadium. Maybe brought some more money in for Alcorn, but at the same time, like we used to do, we used to make it as our home game. Then the next year, the following year, they'll make it as their home game. We can still work that out, and then on top of that, we have the big Battle of the Bands. There's nobody going to be there for the pep rally. There's nobody going to be there for the pageant. What we're going to play golf at? They have this big golf game too. Where's all this gonna occur? No, I'm gonna tell you what I like to do in Lower Mississippi. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I love to fish in Lower Mississippi. It's a great place to fish. But to have the Capital City Classic, no way.
We got a call here. We got a call here, guys, from the 980 area code. I'm sorry, 980 area code. Please state your name and where you're calling from.
My name is DeQuenda Miller.
Hello, DeQuinda Miller. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing well. Doing well.
Hey, how you doing, DeQuinda Miller?
How you doing, Mr. Jones?
I'm doing great. Great to hear from you.
It's good to hear from you too. Hi, Joseph.
All right. What's your question today about the Capital City Classic?
Well, I really don't have a question. I have a statement. I think that both of the universities really need to look at long term. I think that when you concentrate on just making a decision like that based upon one thing, you're not looking at the whole scope of it. You're not really looking at what that's going to do for heritage. You're not looking at what it's doing to the classic, because people come from all around the country for that. It's about tradition, and you can't try to alter tradition based upon what you want for one season with advantage as far as home and away games. You have to look at more than just that factor. And I think that it's going to be a lot of complaints. I think that a lot of people, as far as alumni, people who follow, I think it's going to be a problem.
Wow, that's outstanding. It's an outstanding point. We really appreciate it, DeQuinda Miller. She makes a really good point. I mean, making it a quick decision. It was quick, and you think about the future. There could have been a way to maybe have this game, let's say, 5 more years in Jackson, and then we're going to use so much of this revenue to build it, to help Alcorn facilitate this type of game. It definitely was done with some type of action. I also think it may, and we didn't never say anything about this. This is this guy's first year.
Exactly.
There, so this could be a chance for him to stand on the podium, so to speak. What do you guys think about that?
Well, for one, I hope that the Jackson State University Tiger football team on November 17th go down there and beat those Alcorn Braves to sleep. Then, when they get beat down on their own turf, then Jay Hobson will see that whatever he thought was going to build team morale did not work.
Yeah, 42, 28, and 2 is the all-time series between Jackson State. That's plus for Jackson State. Last year the score was 51-7. So that kind of worries me too, because the game may not the actual football game itself may not attract that much money. You know what I mean? I mean, for all that we talked about, there's actually a game to take place, and it may be right. And then, of course, so maybe this is going to be really more of a band type of thing, so more people who want to see the bands and people who, what do you think, Chris Jones?
Man, first of all, let's just be real. Alcorn is the Bizarro of Jackson State. And when I say the Bizarro, you remember that I'm a realist. You remember back in the day when you had Superman, then you had Bizarro. Bizarro he looked somewhat like Jackson State. He tried to act like Superman, but he was not Superman. Jackson State is the creme de la creme of marching bands. Furthermore, you got this great band coming to this small school that this band is trying to grow and build, and they're not going, they're not building.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
We'd be better off playing Livingstone College.
That's the main thing. It's just building. We got 90 seconds, and I lost the time again, y'all. Please try to wrap it up. The last final things you guys want to say, and then before we sign out. So, Chris Jones, I started with Maurice. Chris Jones, what are your final thoughts about our topic today?
I'm with Maurice because I love that guy. That guy is a bandsman right there. That's a funk bandsman right there. That's a bandsman, and he is right. I'm with him. I hope Jackson State go down there and throttle those guys. I hope the band goes down there and embarrass them. And then on top of that, I say it like this, man, put on your sneakers because we got a long walk. We got a long walk, y'all. Hey,
what about you, Maurice?
To tell you the truth, I feel like Jackson State fans are going to support. The band heads are going to be there. You're going to have people that are going to be there, and it's probably going to be people sitting on that grassy knoll that Mr. Christopher Jones just spoke about earlier. But I'm going to tell you one thing. I, for one, go to every single game for Jackson State, and that's a game I'm not going to. And the main reason why I'm not is because that's too much hassle for a person to have to go through, all because this president is trying to look good in front of the people that are bullying him on his campus now that he's been there as a president for 1 year.
We really wish we would have heard for some more Alcorn folks today. But that's all the time we have. We want to thank God first and foremost. We want to thank Maurice and Chris Jones. We want to thank my dad and thank DeQuinda Miller. Check out the website at www.themarchingpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks to you for listening. And remember, the eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. See you next time.
Boom.